They want you predictable, soft around the edges, easy to read, easier to use. But you're here because some part of you has started to reject that fate, the part that's tired of bending, tired of apologizing, tired of being shaped by hands that never earned the right to touch your destiny. Listen closely. The world you move through is not polite. It rewards masks, punishes honesty, and crowns those who understand the psychology of power, not the poetry of intention. You don't rise by hoping, you rise by seeing coldly, clearly, how the game is really played. And once you see it, you stop being prey. You stop reacting. You stop bleeding for people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. You start building the version of yourself that can't be shaken, bent, or broken. Now breathe, because what comes next will change the way you move forever. First law. Wear the first mask. Control perception, not truth. You rise the moment you understand that power is not earned by revealing yourself, but by revealing only what strengthens your position. And this is the first law you must carve into your mind. Perception outranks truth in every arena where humans gather, compete, and judge. You've spent years giving people unfiltered access to your intentions, your emotions, your doubts, and they used that access as leverage, as evidence, as openings. They learned your reflexes, your soft spots, your tells. That ends now. From this moment, you present only the version of yourself that serves your strategy, not your sentiment. You craft your presence like armor, controlled, measured, unreadable. You let them see stability even when you're still sharpening your blade in the dark. You speak less, calculate more, and become the one who dictates the emotional temperature of any room you enter. You stop rushing to explain yourself, because explanation is a luxury reserved for the powerless, the misunderstood, the insecure. You are none of these anymore. You replace transparency with precision. You replace confession with calibration. You become deliberate in every movement, every pause, every glance. You let your silence do the heavy lifting while others expose themselves through nervous chatter. Understand this: the world judges based on what it perceives, not what is real. And once you master that truth without resenting it, you gain a weapon sharper than honesty. Control. And control is the foundation of every power structure in history. So from here forward, you operate like a strategist, not a supplicant. You shape the way they see you until they can't imagine you any other way. You turn your presence into a frame that others subconsciously adjust themselves to fit. And as you shift into this new identity, say it out loud or write it in the comments as your declaration: iron over impulse. Second law: cut the cord of need. Desire makes you a servant. You don't realize how many chains you've been dragging until you decide to drop them. And the heaviest of those chains is need, the quiet addiction to approval, validation, reassurance, outcomes, closeness, attention, and control, all of which turn you into a servant long before you ever kneel. Power begins the moment you stop needing anything from anyone who can weaponize your hunger, because the world is full of people who sense dependence like sharks sense blood, and the second you show desire that isn't disciplined, they know exactly where to press. So you start cutting. You cut the need to be liked. It dilutes your edge. You cut the need to be understood. It slows your evolution. You cut the need for predictable outcomes. Unpredictability is where your instincts sharpen. When you stop needing, you start choosing, calmly, selectively, powerfully. Your presence stops begging and starts evaluating. You become someone whose interest is a privilege, not a default setting. This is where detachment becomes your weapon, not your weakness. You learn to walk away from any person, any situation, any promise that costs you your sovereignty. You refine your desires until they become preferences you can discard, not cravings that control you. You study the psychology of distancing, not to become numb, but to become sovereign. When people can't hook you with temptation, guilt, attention, or approval, they lose their leverage, and you gain the kind of clarity that bends reality in your favor. Detachment is not coldness, it's command. The less you need, the more dangerous you become, because now every move you make is clean, intentional, and impossible to manipulate. You look at the world with a hunter's calm instead of a beggar's hunger. And if you want to signal your shift from dependency to dominion, carve the words into the comments so you don't forget who you're becoming. Iron over impulse. Third law, speak like a glacier. Silence that freezes opponents. You've been tricked into thinking power comes from talking, persuading, convincing, explaining, but the truth is colder and far more effective. Power belongs to the one who controls the flow of information, and silence is the most unbreakable form of control you will ever possess, because when you speak less, others reveal more, and when you slow your words to the pace of a glacier, you force the world to meet you on your terms. Most people talk to fill their insecurity. You speak only to shape your environment. When you speak slowly, intentionally, measuring each phrase like a blade being unsheathed, people lean in because silence is tension, and tension is influence. You ask short questions that make others expose their assumptions, their weaknesses, their agendas, all while you maintain the stillness of someone who cannot be rushed or provoked. Your composure becomes a mirror that magnifies the nervousness in others. Your pauses become psychological pressure points, and when you do speak, your words land heavier, sharper, cleaner, because they weren't diluted by noise. You learn to resist the emotional impulse to defend yourself. Your silence is stronger than any argument you could give. You learn to observe the micro-expressions, the hesitations, the contradictions others reveal when you simply let them keep talking. You understand that silence is not withdrawal, it's weaponized patience. It's the art of letting others underestimate you, misunderstand you, miscalculate you, until they trap themselves with their own assumptions. Speaking like a glacier doesn't mean being passive. It means being precise. It means you refuse to leak energy. It means your voice becomes an event, not a habit. And when you need to assert yourself, you do it with the weight of someone who has mastered restraint. So if you understand the power of stillness, declare it in the comments to anchor it into your mind. Iron over impulse. Fourth law, hoard leverage. Options are oxygen. You've survived up to this point on effort, willpower, and endurance. But power, real, unshakable power, comes from leverage, the quiet arsenal you build long before you need it. The options that let you walk through the world with the calm of someone who cannot be cornered, and this is where your rise becomes inevitable. You stop living reactively and start constructing a life filled with escape routes, alternatives, competencies, alliances, and skills that make you self-directed instead of situation-bound. Leverage isn't loud. It's not a brag or a threat. Leverage is silent insurance. It's the savings no one knows you have. It's the skill you mastered in private. It's the relationships you nurtured without needing to parade them. It's the reputation you built through discipline rather than noise. When you have leverage, you stop negotiating from desperation. You negotiate from strength because you're choosing, not clinging. You learn to diversify your identity so no single person, place, or opportunity becomes a bottleneck to your evolution. You recognize that dependence narrows your world, while leverage expands it. You become the kind of person who can pivot at will, adapt without panic, shift strategies without losing stability. Your value increases not because you demand it, but because you engineered it. People sense when someone has options. They feel it in your posture, your calm. Your refusal to chase options give you a psychological edge. They make you immune to manipulation, guilt, pressure, or scarcity. You stop accepting unfair exchanges because you no longer fear loss. You stop tolerating draining dynamics because you no longer rely on them. Leverage turns your silence into confidence, your boundaries into truth, your decisions into declarations of self-respect. And as you continue building this quiet empire beneath your feet, anchor the mindset by writing the phrase that defines your new discipline. Iron over impulse. Fifth law, rule the circle. Incentives beat loyalty. You gain power the moment you stop expecting loyalty from people who are driven by their own survival, their own fears, their own hunger, and instead start mapping the incentives that steer them, because every circle you enter, professional, social, personal, is a living ecosystem of motives, not promises. And when you understand that, you stop feeling betrayed and start becoming strategic. Most people cling to the fantasy that loyalty is earned through kindness or consistency, but the truth is leaner, colder. People gravitate toward whoever aligns with their self-interest at that moment, and the ones who appear loyal are often just temporarily aligned, not bound by principle. So you stop trying to inspire devotion and start understanding direction, what they want, what they fear, what they chase, what they avoid. You position yourself not as someone they must obey, but as someone they benefit from supporting. You make yourself the stable point in a chaotic landscape, the presence that makes others more effective, more secure, more capable. You don't manipulate. You influence by being the most reliable source of clarity in the room. And when someone's incentives shift, you adjust without bitterness, because power comes from anticipating movement, not demanding permanence. You learn to place people in your life based on their function, not your expectation. You allow no one to sit closer than their integrity has earned. You create a system where your boundaries are firm, your value is undeniable, and your absence would be felt immediately. That's how you rule a circle, not through force, but through gravity. People move toward what stabilizes them. People align with what strengthens them. You become that force by mastering yourself first. And if you understand this shift from emotional reliance to strategic perception, anchor it publicly by writing the phrase that signals your evolution: iron over impulse. Sixth law: strike once, clean, precision over fury. You've spent too many years wasting energy on battles that should have been finished with a single decisive move because you grew up believing power meant intensity, chaos, noise. But real power is quiet, surgical, and final, built on the discipline to act once, cleanly, calmly, without theatrics, so you no longer bleed strength through repeated emotional swings. You start choosing precision over reaction, timing over impulse, calculation over anger. Most people try to overpower problems. You outmaneuver them. They explode. You strike once. They thrash. You target the pattern. They panic. You remain still long enough to see the weak point no one else notices. Your restraint becomes your clarity. Your patience becomes your advantage. You don't attack situations as they appear. You wait until the moment when action has the highest effect for the lowest cost. And then you move with the confidence of someone who trusts their own judgment. You detach from the need to prove a point. You detach from the desire to be seen striking. You understand that power expressed loudly is often power leaking. Power expressed cleanly is power preserved. You become the kind of person who says little, absorbs everything, and then makes one decision that shifts the entire landscape without raising your voice or breaking your rhythm. This is how you protect your energy. This is how you conserve your dominance. This is how you become someone whose actions change outcomes instead of emotions. And when others wonder how you stay so collected, how you win without scrambling, how you move without noise, they'll never understand that it's because you mastered yourself long before you mastered any situation. Precision is the privilege of the disciplined. Clean strikes are the reward of the patient. If you understand this transformation from force to finesse, anchor it publicly with the phrase that marks your evolution: iron over impulse. Seventh law: hide the horizon, conceal intent until irreversible. You gain a different kind of power the moment you stop broadcasting your goals to people who neither understand your path nor deserve a map to your future, because the more predictable your direction is, the easier it is for others to obstruct, distract, or slow you down. And this is why the strongest players in life learn to hide the horizon, to move with a calm exterior while their true intentions remain buried beneath layers of silence, ambiguity, and strategic misdirection. You don't announce your ambitions. You unveil your results. You don't explain your plans. You execute them in the shadows until they're too far developed to be sabotaged. Most people expose their dreams too early and then wonder why they collapse. You avoid that trap by understanding that human nature reacts to potential changes with fear, envy, competition, or interference. Your advantage is invisible momentum. You let others assume you're standing still while you're quietly rearranging your entire world. You choose decoys when necessary, not lies, but harmless narratives that keep your real trajectory veiled. You learn to move like a strategist, patient, methodical, unfazed by the need for validation or applause. When people can't read your horizon, they can't prepare against you, they can't anticipate your leverage, they can't position themselves in your way. You become unpredictable in the most disciplined sense, not chaotic but unreadable. And when your plans finally surface, they appear inevitable, as if no one could have stopped them even if they tried. That's the psychology of power. Reveal outcomes, not intentions. Reveal shifts, not steps. Reveal milestones only when they're carved into place. You give the world nothing to resist, nothing to distort, nothing to prematurely judge. You let your silence mature your vision until it becomes unbreakable. And if you understand the strength of hidden horizons, anchor it by writing the phrase that sharpens your discipline: iron over impulse. Eighth law: hold the frame, stoic core, unbreakable. Your rise becomes unstoppable the moment you stop letting the world tug at your emotions like loose wires and start holding your frame with the discipline of someone who refuses to be bent by noise, provocation, or chaos, because in every interaction, every conflict, every conversation, the real battle is for psychological ground, and the one who keeps their center wins. You've spent too long absorbing the moods of others, reacting to their tone, matching their intensity, letting their instability dictate your state. But now you learn the rule that separates the powerful from the powerless. Control the frame, control the dynamic. You become the calm point in the storm, the presence that doesn't flinch, doesn't escalate, doesn't crumble. When someone pushes, you don't push back, you hold. When someone tries to trigger you, you don't take the bait, you observe. When someone tries to dominate the emotional tempo, you set your own pace and watch them adjust to you without realizing it. Your silence becomes grounding, your breath becomes command, your posture becomes a message. You no longer mirror the world, you make the world mirror you. This is the essence of stoic power, not numbness, but governance. You don't suppress your emotions, you channel them, discipline them, instruct them. You understand that every reaction is a negotiation with your own strength, and you refuse to negotiate your stability away. Your boundaries sharpen, your presence thickens. People feel the difference. They sense they can't rattle you, can't move you, can't gain psychological leverage over you. And ironically, this makes them respect you more, follow your lead more, reveal themselves more openly. Because a stable frame is rare. A grounded presence is magnetic. A person who cannot be emotionally hijacked becomes someone the world unconsciously adjusts around. And if this shift into unshakable sovereignty resonates through your bones, anchor it visibly by writing the phrase that defines your new discipline: iron over impulse. Ninth law: own the exit, walk away, power is power. You become a different creature the moment you realize that the greatest leverage you will ever possess is the ability to walk away without fear, without drama, without looking back, because most people remain trapped not by force, but by attachment to comfort, validation, routine, roles, relationships, identities they've outgrown yet cling to out of habit. And once you liberate yourself from the fear of leaving, the entire world stops holding you hostage. When you own the exit, you own the negotiation. You own the timing. You own the emotional frame. You own the psychological terrain. People sense it in you, the unspoken truth that you cannot be cornered, cannot be pressured, cannot be held by anything that no longer aligns with your direction. And this presence, this quiet readiness to walk if dignity or clarity demands it, gives you an aura that others can't quite name but instinctively respect. You stop staying in conversations that drain you. You stop participating in dynamics that belittle you. You stop tolerating environments that shrink you. Instead, you evaluate everything with a calm, stoic eye, Does this serve my growth or does this deplete it? Does this align with my future or does it chain me to my past? And if the answer reveals misalignment, you don't crumble, you don't negotiate your worth downward, you simply prepare the exit in silence, then take it with composure. This is the psychology of sovereign movement. You don't broadcast departures, you execute them. You don't explain your decisions to those who benefit from your stagnation. You choose yourself without apology. You build your life so that your mobility, financial, emotional, social, mental, is always intact, always accessible, always sharper than any threat someone could hold over you. That's why you invest in your skills. That's why you cultivate your confidence. That's why you maintain your solitude as a weapon, not a weakness. Because a person with options is a person who cannot be dominated. You no longer attach your identity to places, people, or positions. You understand that your value travels with you, that your potential is portable, that your strength is self-sustained, and when someone tries to leverage scarcity against you, they fail. Because you're no longer afraid of walking toward the unknown, you've built yourself to thrive anywhere you choose to stand. And the moment others realize you cannot be held by obligation or insecurity, they treat you differently, with caution, with respect, with an awareness that you move by choice, not by need. That is walkaway power. That is true autonomy. And if you understand this shift, cement it publicly by writing the phrase that defines your evolution: iron over impulse. 10th law, crown of consequences, power that stabilizes endures. You reach the highest form of power when people don't fear your anger, your status, your noise, but fear the clarity of your consequences, the quiet, unwavering reality that your boundaries are not suggestions, your standards are not negotiable, and your presence operates on a code that does not bend for chaos, flattery, or pressure, because anyone can bark commands or throw their weight around. But only a rare kind of person builds a world where their actions carry such consistency, such precision, such inevitability that others instinctively straighten themselves when they're around you. This is the crown of consequences, the final law in a corrupt world. Make your world stable by becoming stable within yourself. Enforce cause and effect without emotion, and people will respect you, not because you demand it, but because your track record makes disrespect expensive. You don't punish impulsively. You don't react out of ego. You don't lash out to prove a point. Instead, you operate like a force of nature, predictable in your principles, unshakable in your center, disciplined in your responses. When someone violates your boundary, you withdraw access calmly. When someone underestimates your value, you restructure the relationship without theatrics. When someone mistakes your silence for weakness, your next move reminds them that silence was the warning, not the surrender. This kind of power stabilizes your relationships, your goals, your path, because people know exactly where they stand with you. They know that honesty is rewarded, manipulation is useless, inconsistency is noticed, and disrespect is fatal to the connection. Your strength becomes a form of order. Your composure becomes a form of leadership. Your presence becomes a thermostat that regulates the behavior of the room without a single raised voice. And the more consistent you become, the more your life reshapes itself around alignment rather than conflict, truth rather than illusion, growth rather than stagnation. You stop entertaining chaos. You stop excusing irresponsibility. You stop merging with situations that don't deserve your time, energy, or vision. Instead, you build a life where everything around you either strengthens your direction or removes itself. This is the rarest form of power, not dominance, but gravity, not intimidation, but inevitability, not fear, but respect. And when you finally embody this, when you live as someone whose boundaries guide your world and whose discipline shapes your fate, you'll understand why I'm asking you now, before you close this video, before your mind returns to the noise of your day, declare the phrase that defines everything you've become: iron over impulse. And if this entire journey shifted something inside you, if you feel the beginning of your rise taking shape, then like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. because your evolution is just getting started.